In this video, we're gonna use Wized and Xano to build social sign-in with Facebook. Now, if you used social sign-in with Google and you built that already, then you're gonna see that we're following the exact same pattern. And this same pattern applies also to Auth and logging in with LinkedIn, GitHub, etc. All right, without any further ado, let's jump into Xano and let's set this up. So in my project, I already set up a user database, and in the marketplace, I already added this Facebook Auth extension. So once you add this to your account, you have to configure it. And you're going to need this Facebook Auth client ID and the Facebook Auth secret. And you can get those in your Facebook developer account. So if you search for Meta for developers, you can create a free account there. And the first thing you need to do is create a new app. Here, I'm going to choose consumer. I'll click next. I'm going to give the app a name. And I'm going to create the app. Now here, I'm going to add Facebook login. And I'm going to click on settings. The only thing I have to add here is the OAuth redirect URI. And this is the URL to which we want to redirect the users once they sign in with Facebook. So this is, in my case, the path to my login page. I'm just going to add this. And I'm going to save the changes. Now, also for your app, you probably want to also set this to live mode, and you also want to add your privacy policy. But I'm just going to leave this out now. And now if I go to settings, basic, I can get the app ID and the app secret. So I'm going to copy the app ID, paste it into Xano here, and I'm going to add the secret right below. And that's it. Now if I hit update, this is going to be saved. Cool. And now the next thing I have to do is go to API. Here under API groups, you're going to notice that you have Facebook OAuth, and if you added Google OAuth or LinkedIn OAuth, they're all going to be listed here. All right, so I'm going to open Facebook OAuth, and I'm going to copy this URL here. In Wized, I'm going to add a new app, and I'm going to call it Facebook OAuth Xano. Under app, I'm going to select Xano, and here I'm going to paste in my Xano API group base URL, which I just copied. Now for every API group that you have, you need to create a separate app in Wized. Now let's look at the endpoints. Here we have a couple of different endpoints, but what's important to note is that we need to first use this Facebook init endpoint, and this endpoint is responsible for sending users over to Facebook so that they can log in, and then later it redirects them back to the URL which we specified. In our case, it was the login URL. Then we can choose whether we want to use this endpoint over here, which is Facebook continue, or if we want to use login and sign up. Now, sign up allows users only to sign up, as the name suggests. Login allows users to log in, but continue allows users to either sign up or log in, depending on whether they have an account already or not. So if they are logging in and they click continue, they will be logged in. All right, with that out of the way, let's learn how to set this up. So first, we're going to expand this OAuth Facebook init endpoint, and we're simply going to copy this endpoint. We can see here, this is a GET request, so we need to go to data in and create a new request, which we're going to call Facebook init. Under app, I'm going to select Facebook OAuth Xano, and under URL endpoint, I'm going to paste in the endpoint which I just copied. Under method, I'm going to select get, and now I have to add the URL parameters here. If we head over to Xano, we can see that we only need to add one input, which is this redirect URI. I'm going to paste this in here. And here, we need to add the same URI which we specified in our Facebook app. Now, in this case, this was the login page of our app. So I'm going to simply paste this in here. And now let's run this request. We can see here that we get in the response a URL, and this is the URL to which we want to redirect our users so that they can log in with Facebook. So here, after request, we're going to choose navigate to is conditional, of course, if the request is successful. So if status code equals 200 for our request, we're going to redirect the user to this field over here. Cool. And now we have to add a trigger so that we run this request when a user clicks this continue with Facebook button. So we're going to go to actions. Here, we're going to create a new action and we're going to call it submit Facebook init. We're going to apply it to our continue with Facebook element. And on the configuration, we're going to choose on click, perform request, Facebook init. Now that our trigger is set up, if we refresh the page, we can already click on this button. But note that you can't do this in our Wized embed over here. You would need to do this on the live site. So let's see this in action. Now I can click continue with Facebook. This is going to redirect me to the Facebook page. I'm going to click continue as a manual here. And now I'm going to be redirected back to the login page. But you'll notice one thing. We have this code query parameter here in the URL, and we have a token here. So we need to get this token, and we need to use it for our continue endpoint. So for now, I'm simply going to copy this, head back to Wized, and I'm going to go to page data. In page data, I'm going to click on navigation, and here I'm going to add a new query parameter called code. Now this will take the value that we have in our URL under code. In this case, this token over here. Okay, now let's build our request. I'm going to go to data in. I'm simply going to duplicate this Facebook init request because it has already the redirect URI, which we will need as well. So the name I'm going to change to Facebook continue, and this endpoint I'm going to change to Facebook continue. Under redirect URI, I'm going to use the same page that we had before, and in this endpoint, you'll notice that we have one more URL parameter which we need to send. So if we go to this endpoint right here, Facebook continue, you're going to see that we have code and redirect URI. So here we're going to add our code input, and as the value, we're going to, for now, set this to the value that we received in our browser, which is for now just hard-coded, but later we're going to replace this with our query parameter, which we created. All right. And here I can just delete this section, and now we can see what we get in the response from this request. So we can run this request, and we can see we receive a valid token from Xano. And this is our authentication token, which we need to store in a cookie. So we're going to go here to after request. We're going to choose set cookie. Here I created already a cookie called token in the page data settings. And the value I'm going to set to the token value of our request response. So I'm going to expand this data field. I'm going to go down to the bottom to the last request. And I'm going to select this token field. Now under trigger, I'm going to choose variable condition. And here, I'm going to select our query parameter. So if we get the code in the URL, we want to run this request. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit done. And I'm also going to change this value that we hard-coded earlier with this query parameter value. Because each user will get a unique token, so this would not work. All right, this token has been used already, just for the sake of this example, so we're going to delete that. We're going to paste this in here. And now this field will be dynamic. And now the last thing we need to do in this request is set up another after request action. So when this request is successful and we receive a token which we save in the cookie, we want to redirect the users to the dashboard. So here under action, we're going to choose navigate to the dashboard page. And of course, under is conditional, we're going to choose only if this request was successful. So if status code equals 200. Cool. Now we can close this, and now we can test our configuration on the live site. We can click here on Continue with Facebook. This is going to redirect us to Facebook. Now we can log in. We're going to be redirected back to our login page, and now we're going to be redirected to our dashboard. And as we can see, everything is working as expected. Now, when you want to create some authenticated requests in your Xano app, you can do it the same way as we did in our previous tutorials, where you simply add this token value in your request. That's basically it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to learn how to set the same thing up with Google, then make sure to watch this video over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!